Hi guys, welcome to another SLTD Wrestling Roundtable podcast. We are here as always. This could be turn out to be a very special episode. We will see. Today we are going to do the hot off the presses um, Progress Super Strong Style 16 brackets. They've been released literally a couple of hours ago. Um, this is a big thing for Progress. Anybody who knows we've been doing a lot of stuff for Progress over the last year or so. 8 months or something, is it? Something like that. So we're doing bits, and we decided rather than doing just normal reviews that we do, with Super Strong Style being such a big thing in the Progress calendar, it would be pretty cool to see what was what. And we decided to record today. And I'm not saying this is a thing, right? But Progress, we have like messages here and there to certain things. And Progress messaged us and said, what day are you recording? And I said, Tuesday. Why? And they said, okay, we'll release the brackets. And I said, thanks. So I'm not saying that they released them today because we're recording, but I mean, take from that whatever you will. All right, you take from that whatever you want. All right. I'm gonna throw it around the table as always, and then we will get into progress stuff. Like in general, we'll get throw into like the match. Oh my God, everything's gone dark. Get into the other matches on the card and the 16 who are in the super strong style. What the super strong style is for anybody who doesn't know. I would hope that these at least some people who have learned more about progress because they listen to us. That is always the hope that people listen to us and they're like, "Hey, what's this progress?" and check it out. And then we're doing what we're meant to be doing. No, I mean we're doing our job. So yeah, I will throw it around the table. Hopefully the light will stay on for Adam, and Callum's snazzy shirt is coming out to play. Callum, you okay?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm going for the Hawkeye look from Mesh with the shirt.
Nice.
Um, if you've ever
It's a
watched
good
that
one.
show.
Yeah.
Um, I think it was very fitting that the intro to this episode started with a gong, only for about 2 minutes later the lights to go out for Adam. I half expected to see Mark Calloway appear behind him. So very fitting. Looking forward to talking about Super Strong Style 16. For long-time listeners of this podcast, you'll know that we love talking about tournaments and even doing tournaments, fantasy tournaments like the World Cup. So the fact that we get to watch and now talk about an actual tournament is rather quite exciting.
Mm-hmm. Adam, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm in my classroom. For anyone watching on YouTube, you'll be able to see that I'm in my classroom. That's why the light's just gone off because apparently they're on a timer. And I'm also
We've held that
working
for
against.
25 years. That's what it is.
I'm also working against the fact that I am currently the only one in the building with keys. And I'm quite concerned that actually, does that mean that the power's going to go off at a certain point? I hope not.
Yeah, I didn't think of that.
Yeah, no, neither did I. But it's fine. It's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, just sit in the dark with your phone. Sound.
Yeah. It went off I was recording my revision podcast yesterday, and it went off in the middle of that.
Oh, way.
I
Oh,
know.
way.
So there's a
You
whole bit on YouTube where I'm just like, oh bloody hell, I forgot about these lights.
didn't even put it out. You just
Never
left
cut it
it.
out. No, 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 no. It's fine. I've done them. I've done them enough years now where they're all used to my jovial ways.
Ah, well, there you go.
I'm like,
Okay.
ah, bloody hell. Let's talk about Ferris Bueller.
So, um, first question, right, for anyone. So I'm going with this being quite a new thing for certain listeners and all stuff like that. Um, do you wanna, because you are the resident progress guy, Adam, by the way, I'm looking at. Do you want to explain the super strong style 16? I mean, you could explain the gongs, because I don't actually know.
The gongs that go on the intro.
Yeah.
So basically, this goes all the way back to the Jim Smallman days of Progress, where Jim always opened the show by playing "For Whom the Bell Tolls" by Metallica. So the gongs that you hear at the beginning of these intros now when we do a Progress show are the gongs from that song. And they still get played on the Progress shows. Basically, they get played, and then we go into what I'm assuming is a sort of royalty-free song to sort of intro and launch the show. And sometimes it comes up on the feed. I think, especially if you're watching it on demand Progress when it's happening at the time or on Triller, it comes up on the feed. But it's definitely something that you hear in person. But when we're looking at Super Strong Style, so the first Super Strong Style tournament goes all the way back to 2015. So this is actually the sort of 10th anniversary of Super Strong Style. It's not necessarily the 10th tournament because obviously with COVID they didn't do a tournament in 2020 and 2021. But the winner of that first tournament was Will Ospreay, and it sort of tells you straight away the sort of the gravitas that this tournament has. And basically, what it is it's 16 people. Typically, it's a male tournament. I'd love to know if Progress plan on doing a female version of it somewhere down the line. But 16 men all in this tournament. It's basically, single elimination. You start with the quarterfinals, you move into your sort of, oh no, it would be your round of 16, then your
That's
quarterfinals.
16.
Yeah.
And you can tell Callum's a sports guy. The last 16, then your quarterfinals, then your semifinals, and then your finals. And the winner typically has gone on to have a championship match for the Progress World title, but hasn't always necessarily been successful at then obtaining the title. But just to mention some of the people who were in that first tournament alongside Will Ospreay, Zach Gibson, one half of the
Right.
Grizzled Young Veterans, Zack Sabre Jr., Tommy End, who's now known as Alistair Black, Roderick Strong, the final boss that is, Tommaso Ciampa, Mark Haskins, Eddie Dennis, Dave Mastiff, Walter, now known as Gunther. So again, plenty of names that have been in it over the years. And then the winners, just to sort of give you a potted history of those, 2016 was Tommy End. 2017 and 2019 we're not going to mention because they are persona non grata as it is now. 2018 Zack Sabre Jr., 2022 was Chris Ridgway, 2023 was Kid Lykos, which led to Lykos defeating Spike Trivet for the men's world title, and then last year Luke Jacobs, which went to Luke Jacobs, then defeating Kid Lykos to win the men's world title, which he still holds to this day. And then last year's tournament was stacked anyway. Shelton Benjamin was in last year's tournament.
Yeah.
Kid Lykos 2, Leon Slater, Man Like Doris, TK Cooper, Ricky Knight Jr., Ugly Blank, Connor Mills, people like these sort of mainstays of Progress were in there, as well as these sort of huge exports that they managed to get in as well. So it's a big thing in the Progress calendar. Comes around once a year, and I've already sort of said this to Sam to bring Sam in for a second. Next year, I know he's on about doing Mania. I want to do Super Strong Style.
I was just about to say this to you. We should do this next year.
Yeah.
The only downfall is that it's 2 nights in it. So I'm a bit
Well,
like,
it's one night really.
But,
It's
but it's bank
two
holiday.
afternoons. Yeah, and it's a bank
oh,
holiday.
yeah, oh, okay.
They
I
always do
think
it on the bank holiday weekend.
that's the important thing to stress about the tournament as well. It's a two night, two/slash afternoon
So it's
event
like
which
two
starts
events.
this Sunday
Yeah.
at 3 o'clock on Progress Plus or on Triller if you're out in the US.
Yeah. So is it Sunday and Monday?
It's Sunday
Or
and
Sunday and
Monday.
Monday.
Yeah, yeah.
Sunday and Monday? That's good because I've got my child's 7, so I was thinking, God, I miss Saturday. Thought it was Saturday and Sunday, so I was like,
No, Sunday, Monday.
I'm gonna be fuming about that. You know what I mean? But anyway, so as I say, the brackets have been released, hot off the press. Do you want to go through the 16?
Yeah, so what I'll do is I'll give you a bit of a primer on the 16 people. So again, this was one of these things where my currently undiagnosed ADHD took over. And I've got like a huge table with colours in it and all these different things. So
Looks
basically, go on.
It looks great.
It looks
Yeah,
great.
it
It
looks
looks great for us to see for a week, and then we're never going to look at it again.
well. It's one of them where this time next year you're like, oh, we've still got this. You know
Fair
what I
enough.
mean? I
Yeah.
write everything down, and I've got like pads and everything
Mm.
from episodes that we've done, like episode 2, and I've got the running list and notes from our second from every episode we've done, even the pre-episodes. I do all that. You're not the only one who's a bit weird, you know. Just saying.
I don't claim to be. Right. So if I'm going down in order of these people that were announced through social media at Progress, I've done a little bit of a primer on the experience in the tournament, the Progress achievements up to now, and then their achievements if people aren't familiar, because there are a couple in here that I will admit I'm not necessarily familiar with, especially with the imports coming in. So Jack Morris was the first participant announced. It is his debut in the tournament. He is a former and current GHC Tag Team Champion and a GHC National Champion. He's a member of the Noah roster. He was part of the Noah shows when they came over last year as well in Manchester.
Interesting
Again,
fact. Before you go on,
go
he
on.
was his tag team partner that he won the tag titles. Do you know who this is?
I do.
Omos is what? Yeah,
Yeah.
Omos.
Yeah, man.
There you
Yeah.
go.
That's my that was my first proper Noah show that I watched
Hmm.
because beginning of the year Omos and Shinsuke were both on it. So I was like, I'm gonna check this out, you know, it's all good. Omos is sound when he's not in WWE, you know, like it's mad. But yeah, so he
Surely they've
won.
got to be doing something with him, you
I
know.
don't know. But anyway, so yeah, he won it with him, and then he was like, I'm going back to America, and then the who he's tag team partners with now. I can't think of his name off the top of my head, sorry. But he basically was gifted the title by Omos.
Well,
Um,
I'm gonna come back to Morris in a little bit because,
yeah.
and I'm just gonna leave this hanging for you two to figure out. When we come to the brackets, I did enjoy the whether intentional or not 90s TV program reference in that opening match, and I'll leave that hanging there for the second. So it's usually Callum that makes the references.
Yeah,
I was,
I
gonna- I
say.
was born in the late 90s, so it might be a bit of a struggle for
I
me.
spotted it straight away, and I was like, someone at Progress HQ has done that on purpose. Right. So, secondly, Masa Kitamiya, another member of the Noah roster. It is his debut again in the tournament. He is a former seven-time GHC Tag Team Champion. Looks like a bit of a beast of a wrestler, to be honest. So, I was going to say all the best to whoever it is that he's facing in the first round, but then I had a look at my piece of paper. I'm taking it back. I don't care. Batter him for all I care. And we'll get to that in a bit. Third entrant is Zazoya, who is a European high flyer. He's making a name for himself. He's treading everything across Europe. Two-time Triple W Absolute Champion, two-time LLB Tag Team Champion. It is his debut in the tournament as well. And then moving into our first sort of a familiar face for the Progress fans, I will say, is Leon Slater, the youngest in charge, who, as we spoke about this last night, we had a bit of a sort of pre-strong style chat over the phone last night. Leon Slater right now is the uncrowned X Division champion. That if you go back and look at
100%.
if you look at TNA Rebellion, he gets that X Division title down and then gets speared at the last minute by Moose. I'm still having it that Leon Slater is the uncrowned X Division champion. Yeah. So I'm just putting that out there right now.
The
He
youngest
got
as well,
to
the youngest.
say again.
Youngest X Division champ.
Would he?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Nice.
Well, that's what they were saying. I've watched Rebellion.
All right. Okay.
He hasn't won it yet, has he?
No,
Like he's not a former X Division champ.
no.
But if he wins, he'd be the youngest, yeah.
Yeah, because I was saying to you guys yesterday that like I went on, I think it was Reddit on Monday morning, and I was like, oh, I'm assuming I'm about to watch Leon Slater win the X Division title, and then all of a sudden, no. So leave that for another day.
Yeah.
He was in the tournament in 2023, and he got knocked out in the first round. So obviously he's looking to make more on this opportunity.
He's a different guy now, you know. Like I think
Yeah.
he's more seasoned in the last
Mhm.
year. Like I think in his I talk about superstar stock quite a lot. His superstar stock has gone up, I'll be honest with you. You know what I mean? Being with TNA and fighting other people and getting it and then like having bloody Ultimate X matches and that.
Yeah.
Like
Ultimate X matches where he does is Swanton 450 and nobody catches him.
like no like what I don't let's move on from TNA because I was
We
just
like you, Leon.
yeah, yeah.
We'll catch you when you fall.
We'll catch you when you fall. He's currently the North champion. I'm going to my first North show at the end of the month, actually, so looking forward to that. And he's TNT World Champion. He was TNT World Champion because somebody else in the tournament is the current TNT World Champion. But we'll get to that. Uh, next announced for the tournament, one half of the Young Guns and Luke Jacobs' his tag team partner, making his debut in Super Strong Style, Ethan Allen, currently one half of the Rev Pro Tag Team Champions with Luke Jacobs. So it's going to be very interesting to see where Jacobs goes in this, not Jacobs, sorry, where Allen goes in this tournament. But having said that, when I did my mock up of my brackets, I knocked him out in the first round. So we'll see.
They were in the Burning Heart tournament as well, weren't
Yes, they were. Yeah,
So
he got to the final of the Burning Heart tournament. He faced Mark Haskins in the final. So
knows,
tournament credentials right there. Next up, man like Doris, first round in 2023, semi-finals in 2024. Is he going all the way in 2025?
Again, he's like his superstar stock's gone up in the last
This is
year.
it.
Know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
he was on TNA. Know what I mean? He was doing things with them.
Yeah.
Like he's in the GCW thing, weren't he? He did that when he was over there. Like, I mean,
He's one that's being talked about so much at the minute.
he could do it. You know, I reckon.
Yeah.
He's a like.
Former Progress Tag Team Champion with Drilla Maloney as the 0121. Current Kamikaze Pro Champion and former TNT Ultra X Champion. So again, he's on the rise. He's on the absolute rise at the minute. Number 7, another interesting one. Marcus Mathers. Now I saw Marcus Mathers wrestle over Mania weekend. I think it was on a GCW show. Or was it the Progress show?
It was in the Progress four-way.
Of course it was. Yeah.
Was it the four-way? It was in the match that had am I with Tate Mayfair? It's a triple threat with Tate
Oh,
Mayfair
the triple threat.
and Manders.
Yes.
I got mixed up between that and the scramble because of them being multi-person.
Oh yeah, I know. I was thinking the scramble then. I was like, yeah, I'm with you. Yeah.
Yeah. So Marcus Mathers
he was in the triple threat.
Yeah, so he was in the triple threat. So we've seen him on Progress before. It's his debut in the tournament. And the one key thing to look out for with Marcus Mathers is that he's a WWE ID prospect. So he is currently making his way through the tournament to become the first WWE ID champion. So it's a lot of eyes on this one.
Interesting.
Arguably the veteran of the tournament, Trent Seven. Now it surprised me when I was putting this together that he's only ever actually been in one Super Strong Style. I assumed that he would have been in more than this, and he was knocked out in the first round in 2017. Wow. So we're now talking 8 years since he's been in the Super Strong Style. Former Atlas champion, former tag team champion. So again, highly decorated in Progress. But then other accolades speak for themselves. Former OTT World Champion and former NXT and NXT UK Tag Team Champion. It's Trent Seven. Like what else do you need to say? The fact that he's in the tournament is huge anyway. He could go all the way. 100% he could go all the way. But then I think more importantly and more interestingly, the sort of the rub that he could give somebody else along the way as well could be absolutely huge. Again, depends on where the sort of the brackets fall and all that kind of stuff. Next up, Charlie Sterling. So making his debut in Super Strong Style. 3-time tag team champion with the Smoking Aces. We love the Smoking Aces. We've spoken so much about Smoking Aces. And recently, we've seen Nick Riley sadly retire. So we saw them lose the belts to Sunshine Machine. And then I've seen clips from Pro Wrestling Chaos recently where Nick's retirement match was actually against Charlie. So there was a couple of bits of footage that were floating around on Instagram and stuff like that of their match. He is currently the OTT European champion, and he has also been one of the Rev Pro Tag Team champions as well. So this is really a sort of trial by fire of what we're going to see as Charlie Sterling as a sort of singles competitor.
I was going to say this, like, yeah, it's one of them where you kind of like, this is like nut up or shut up, innit? Like, it's one of them where you kind of like, because he's known as a tag team guy. This is going to be dead interesting because that's the thing with like tag team guys. Same with Ethan Allen, I think, in the sense that it's like you're known for being part of a tag team.
Mhm.
So you either like step out or you don't. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean? That's it.
yeah,
It's like you either do it or you don't. And I think this is the moment where you've got to kind of like almost be like, right, this is me now. Like, this is
Hmm.
what I'm doing. This is where I'm going. This is the way I'm going. Because I'm assuming um, his his persona of sorts is going to change. Do you know what I
well, I
mean?
was thinking he could probably still use the Smoking Ace moniker.
Hmm.
Could be the
Yeah.
Smoking Ace Charlie Sterling, because I mean, a little birdie, a Sterling or a Starling, may have already told us that another brick in the wall is sticking around. So,
Yes, yes. Somebody very up on the knowledge of these things, got in touch with us and said, "Don't you worry, it's not going anywhere." So
love it.
yeah, I'm not gonna say I was worried it was going somewhere, but that's a jam.
Yeah,
Like that gets the crowd going, and you're like, it's just so.
100%.
Um,
One of Keith Lloyd's best songs.
yeah.
Especially that remix.
Um, so yeah, I think this is going to be an interesting one. I would hope it's not a situation where it gets a bit too much because he's used to being in tag teams.
Hmm.
That's always the
Yeah,
case.
yeah,
It
But
it feels like a really good opportunity for him to have that breakout performance.
yeah,
And like you were saying, coming from a tag team, it's like, you know, the Rockers splitting up, and you
yeah,
see it the way that Shawn Michaels elevated himself to being a singles star. You just
mm,
hope that Charlie can do something similar on the British wrestling scene.
yeah. No one wants
100%.
to be Marty Jannetty. You know what I mean? No one wants to be that guy.
Well, in a team as good as Smoking Aces, there is no Janetti. So,
Well, one doesn't wrestle anymore, so you would argue that he's Jannetty, wouldn't you?
no, I would argue that Michael's retired and then Michael's is carrying on.
Right, all right. I'm just saying, like, one of
Through a
them.
technicality.
Okay, all right. All I'm saying is, in every tag team, someone's Janetti.
Yeah,
So,
not
you
in
know what I
this one.
mean? All right,
Yeah.
all right.
Next up, another debut in the tournament is Will Cruz, who we have loved his stuff in progress. His stuff as the number one nephew. He's currently one half of the North Tag Team Champions with Rampage Brown, in a team that I cannot wait to see together when I go to North. Like
I
Will
know,
Cruz and
right?
Ramp. Yeah.
I've been power slammed by Rampage Brown, and then kneed in the chest by him. Just
Oh.
'cause just because I was a manager. I was a manager for a night, and he attacked me. I was like, what?
You
You
didn't
know what I
tell me
mean?
this.
Well, I mean,
What?
I'm going to ask you a question, and you can answer one in kayfabe, and then two breaking the wall, and going behind the curtain. Did
Yeah.
it hurt?
Um, the pattern, the power slam did more because of like, oh shit, like more because of that. Oh shit, like So yeah, I feel like I sold it quite well. But it was a bit like, what? You just do this all the time. What are you doing? So yeah, that was interesting. But yeah, it was all he looked after me. You know what I mean? He looked after me.
There you go.
Yeah,
Yeah, so it's Will Cruz's debut in the tournament. I'm intrigued to see how far he goes.
yeah,
But I think again, it's another good one where because he's just broken off from Moth Dog.
yeah.
Part of me is concerned that the sort of the missing of Gene Money in this tournament doesn't
Yes,
necessarily mean that he's not going to miss the show.
yes. I think like people haven't even like we haven't even scratched the surface of Will Cruz.
Have you
Like,
seen that?
yeah,
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 the moves that he is doing on that PPW Instagram
yeah.
account.
Like that's what I mean. I don't think the surface has been scratched even close to what he can and can't do. Like it
Yeah.
was, yeah, some of it was unreal. So, but it shows that he's got two sides. Like he can do both. Like he can quite happily be like the bumbling nephew, and then he can be like the angry giant, and he can be the holy shit. How's that guy doing that? Do you know what I mean? So it's never like there's no bad angle where you could, you know what I mean? So yeah, I am definitely looking forward to World Cruise Life.
Yeah.
I'll be honest.
I'm going to pair the next two up purely because they are both members of Lycos Gym. So you've got Kid Lycos 2, who got to the quarterfinals last year, in quite an interesting one, obviously, because at that point, Kid Lycos was the world champion. So we were in a very sort of similar young gun situation that we're getting this year, where if Lycos 2 would have won that, he would have then faced Lycos for the world title. He's a former tag team champion, obviously with Kid Lycos as well, and he's former North and TNT tag team champions as well. But then if you look at Kid Lycos in 2022 got to the quarterfinals, and then the year later won the thing. He is the only person in this year's tournament who has won the tournament before. So I think that again puts him in very, very good stead. He is a former Progress World Champion. He's a former four-time Progress Tag Team Champion, and like I say, with Kid Lycos 2 North and TNT Tag Team Champions as well. We'll gloss over Tate Mayfairs. We don't need to mention Tate Mayfairs, do we?
Mention Tate.
So Tate Mayfairs, he was in the tournament in 2023. He got to the first round. 2024, he got to the quarterfinals. Is he going to go all the way this year? I hope not. He was the Thunder Bastard of 2024, whatever that means. Oh no, he won the Thunder Bastard in 2024. All right, okay. He is the current TNT World Champion. I'm just gonna, I think, forever be passive aggressive towards him and keep calling him out on this podcast in the hope that it goes somewhere.
Yeah, I
I
think
feel
that.
like I feel like if Tate reaches the semi-finals, we're gonna find out that Adams caught like a last-minute train from Manchester down to London just to try and cost Tate Mayfair from possibly winning this.
Yeah.
If there's like this masked intruder there next Monday, we know
El
it's
Grande
Adams.
Americano.
Yeah.
Your glasses coming through the mask.
Yeah, just
Away.
over there. That's funny.
El
Yeah,
Grande Mancunio.
you seem to have this hatred for him just because he wants to win a book. You know what I mean? That's all it is.
Yeah, but it just
Yeah,
wasn't a book.
yeah. It was a lot of books.
Hmm. And from
I
and from other people who I shall not name, they
yeah,
agree with
yeah.
my,
I mean, this is
frustration.
why we've talked about this where we're like, Take Me Face just doesn't. It just doesn't feel like a face. Like he doesn't
It's
feel
through
like.
and through. He's the Thunder Bastard.
Yeah, he's a heel, and you got in touch with him, and he healed you strong, didn't he? Like
Yep.
he was a heel to the very end when you're thinking. So I mean, who knows? Who knows what tomorrow will bring? We'll see. We'll see. You know what I mean?
Take me first knocking at my door.
Yeah. What are you saying about me?
Right. Almost there. 14, Charles Crowley. First round in 2022, quarterfinals in 2023, former Progress Tag Team Champion with Alexis Falcon as part of the Cheeky Little Baggers. And he is a former TNT World Champion as well. You were saying before, like with Crowley, you think this could be a big thing for Crowley. Like,
So I'm a fan of Crowley anyway because I just think he's cool. Like I think he's just something about him that's quite interesting. And I think the thing about him is he's got this like gimmick, but like he leans into it in the sense that on the indies you can get a lot of people who are like, oh, I do this and I do that, ooh, but don't really commit. And I feel like Crowley commits like 100%, which is the way you've got to do it. But I do feel like there's a lot of people who would like who would be more like, I'll be a straight wrestler and I'll do this because it's easier and I don't have to be like flamboyant and all stuff like that. And yeah, I think that's what got me initially a bit like, there's something about this Crowley here, like he's proper good. And then when I watched him in Vegas because obviously the Vegas show felt different.
hmm,
Like didn't like Progress have got their own thing that they do and it works and I love it. But the Vegas show was more like an American show, if that makes sense. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? He obviously had like the I can't remember the girl's name, but the announcer wasn't like
Wasn't Jerry Bakewell.
Yeah, Big like they've got like their thing that works and that's their thing, but the Vegas show felt different.
Mm.
Not in a bad way. It felt bigger and it felt like a bit more almost mainstream, which again doesn't really make sense, but if you know what I mean. So when they had the scramble match, he stood out more than anybody else in that scramble match for me. Like
Mm.
even like the entrances and coming out, and you wouldn't think he would because of the names that were in it.
Mm.
And that's nothing against him. It's just there was big names in there. Do you know what I mean? Who were like
Mm.
over and like you would think in America. Do you know what I mean? And it just felt like he was um what's the word? Like maximizing his minutes.
Mm.
We'll say like everything he did, and he was his movements and everything. Yeah, I just feel like he's just got something that
Yeah.
the more people who see it, the more it's just going to explode. Like he doesn't need to change anything about how he does things or what he wears or the way he acts or the way he talks and like yeah, everything is just he's got it spot on. He just needs more people to show and yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. As I say, I genuinely can feel him like being on a bigger stage,
Mhm.
like and like getting to the point where like people are like, right, this guy, like I
Yeah.
know this guy. Do you know what I mean? Like he's got that thing about him. But I'm slightly biased. But yeah, there you
Yeah.
go.
Penultimate Simon Miller,
Yeah,
his debut. He should have been in the tournament last year, but he had to forfeit due to injury. So he has got a lot to prove this time. Former Proteus champion, which now feels weird saying former Proteus champion. And he's a former UPW heavyweight champion as well. Again, I'm intrigued to see where Miller goes in this tournament. We kind of said this anyway that like the whole sort of the way that the tournament is stacked anyway, you're going to lose some big people in round one. It's inevitable. And then the final entrant, Michael Oku, who made a
that's
surprise
shock.
return. Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I was shocked at that. Do you know what? Do you know what did shock? Shouldn't have shocked me, but I know I was like shit the bed, because it was originally reported by Fightful, and do you know when you're a bit
Yeah.
like,
Yeah,
wow,
yeah.
that's mad. That
Big.
yeah, that's like not just because they're reporting on progress, but because it's like big enough news for
Mm,
Fightful to want to drop
Yeah.
it. It's
yeah.
big enough news. Like Michael Oku is a big enough star that Fightful can be like, oh, he's in this progress thing, and people are like, oh my God, do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's a good thing for Oku, but it's a good thing for progress, and it's like that was the moment I was like, yeah, this dude's going places.
Well,
Like,
because it's like because he had the thing with AEW when they were around for All In,
yeah,
and I remember us having a chat about who the sort of surprise entrants in the gauntlet were going to be, and
mm,
possibly thinking that one of them might have been Oku,
yeah.
and it looking like that was around about the time that he was going to make his debut, and then it all kind of went a bit quiet. But then around the Vegas Mania weekend, he did a Dynamite or a Collision again. So again, there's still
A
some.
Ring of Honor he did.
Oh, was it Ring of Honor?
Ring of
Yeah.
Honor.
So there's still something going on. There's still something, the feelers are out there type thing. Because, as we're talking about him, he's currently Rev Pro champion.
Yeah.
I think he beat Luke Jacobs, actually, to take that.
Did
Um,
he?
Was it Jacobs or Slater?
it may have been Slater.
They had a show about 10 days ago in Doncaster, which also had Mercedes on.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, high stakes, wasn't it?
Yeah.
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 But yeah, like Oku, the inclusion of Oku in his first super strong style as well,
Mhm.
is huge.
Yeah.
Um, so do you want to go down the brackets? Do you want to see where
Yeah.
these matches have fell?
So but before we do that,
Go
like
on.
dead quick, like now we've mentioned the 16.
Hmm.
Who's winning?
I've said this for ages. I think it's Doris.
Right, okay. Cal?
Michael Oku.
Yeah, marathon. Yeah.
Ooh.
I I think there's a story for Ethan Allen, but I think you might be right with Therese.
See, but I think now, having said Doris, and obviously with all the stuff that we got with Young Guns and boisterous behaviour before Christmas,
Yeah.
I think I am incorrectly neglecting the Black Swan Cara Noir.
Do you
Mm.
think? It's interesting. So you think Jacobs is losing?
Well, all I'm doing is I'm looking at the tournament, and straight away in my head, I'm thinking, well, who's going to face Jacobs? Who's got the story to face Jacobs? Who's going to be the person to win the tournament to then face Jacobs for the title? When actually, what I should be thinking is, who's going to get the title shot at either Jacobs or Cara Noir? Because it's
Yeah.
not a dead cert that it's Jacobs.
Mm.
Yeah. Interesting.
Because then
As well.
that adds a whole other thing,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. That. Yeah.
The Michael Oku versus Cara Noir match, you
Yeah.
know.
Mm.
I mean, even a Charles Crowley versus Cara Noir match. Can you imagine the theatrics behind that?
Yeah. Have
Yeah.
a Seven versus Carnoir run back.
Yeah,
Run it
Seven
back.
versus Jacobs.
Seven
Yeah.
versus Jacobs.
Okay, almost like a passing of the torch.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Scenario.
Oh, damn it. Too many
That
games.
that's
This is it. There's too many.
that's a brilliant thing about tournaments in general, where the way that they get drawn out and the way that the brackets have fallen, we
Hmm.
are going to lose a couple of really big stars in the opening round. And it's like that. It's the Morocco of the 2022 World Cup scenario, and you two can just look very
I
blank.
thought you were talking about Don Morocco then, and I thought Callum's done his research into a really old tournament.
Yeah, but it's the Morocco of the 2022 World Cup where they beat Spain and Portugal in the last 16 and quarter final to reach the semi final of the World Cup. There's no reason why an underdog in this tournament, like a Charlie Sterling, like a Will Cruz, couldn't upset a few and reach the semi final. Just the way that it's all fallen has given it a really good chance for someone who we perhaps don't expect to get far to actually make it to the final, and who knows what will happen in the final.
Mm.
Yeah. Interesting. So,
Well,
um, so you have you got the
I'm
brackets?
going to say before we do the brackets then, because I think this is another important thing to mention that yes, it's super strong style. Yes, that the two-dayer is all about the tournament in the same way that like WWE would do a King of the Ring or something like that. There are other matches happening that we know of.
Yeah.
So as we mentioned, there is a Progress Men's World Title match between current champion Luke Jacobs and Cara Noir, um, which is just going to be a banger, like
Yeah.
without a doubt. Um, as for everything that I have just said about slapping my own wrist and saying that I'm neglecting the Black Swan, I do think Luke Jacobs is keeping it though.
Do you think?
Well, I think there's something there, isn't there, of like once he gets past the tournament and once he gets past Cara Noir, he's then had it for a year.
True. Yeah.
So I think there's a bigger thing there, and there's a bigger thing possibly about the person whoever it is who wins the tournament stopping that reign. And we've had a lot recently in wrestling about historic length title reigns ending. There's the light again. So I am now the Black Swan. Uh, so I mean, you two talk about Luke Jacobs and Karen Noir while I go and turn the light back on.
Um, I don't see. This is the thing, right? So the Cardinal thing, like he's got everything about him, and that makes sense.
Hmm.
But he feels like one of them people who would never need the title. Do you know what I mean? Like he's the way he is, he would never need the title. So I feel like putting the title on him. It feels like a fiend situation, right? Where if you put the title on him, you're automatically ruining the aura because he's got to lose that title.
Yeah,
Caveat.
I feel Adam's going to bring up something now.
Purely because, and Callum, after I've spoken, I'm going to shut my face and let you speak for a little bit because I'm aware that I do that too much. But Cara Noir has been Progress World Champion before, and
Right. So
he held it, admittedly through lockdown, but he held it for off the top of my head somewhere around 500 and odd days. Now, you say, Ty, is it like a Fiend situation where you just don't give him the title because obviously it then ruins the aura and it ruins all that kind of stuff? I'm wondering if it's more of a Roman Reigns situation where because he's had his lengthy run, because he's had his time at the top, we're now without the title for a bit. And we're now sort of like he doesn't need the title to sort of move him up the echelon. He doesn't need the title to make him as a character. He has now already been made because he's had an historic Progress title reign previously. So that him in that promotion is now not necessarily bigger than the title, but he's always
yeah, I
going to
get you.
be that attraction, you know.
I don't. I don't know. Genuinely, like I know what you're saying, but it just it feels like I don't want to say Karen Noir is like bigger than the promotion because he's not, but I feel like the gimmick and the way he carries himself and the way he wrestles and all that could be slotted into any major promotion and it be a thing. So I don't know if winning titles is what is needed for him. Like he's more of an attraction.
Mm.
That's where my head goes. And I feel like the Luke Jacobs era of Progress is a bit more like gritty and a bit more like I'm gonna punch your face in and like love every part of it and you might make me bleed, but I don't give a shit. Like all that stuff. I think if you're planning on doing that, going from that to Carnival is a big shift. Do you know what
I'd
I mean?
argue that Cara could do that though.
Possibly, yeah. Yeah, yeah. I do, yeah.
Just because I shortchanged him, he was champion for 791 days.
It's a long time, that, isn't it?
Yeah, again, it was COVID time. So it was
Yeah.
19th of Jan to the 20th of March.
This is like Nick Aldis being 1,000 day camp, but
Yeah.
he didn't defend it for like 19 months. But he's like 1,000 days, and it's like, really, I don't think that really counts, does it? But okay.
Luke Jacobs is currently on 275.
Right, okay. Because you know what was
So
interesting? They talk numbers, the amount of days that Simon Miller had been champ when he went into the scramble match. And it was like 180 something or whatever it was.
yeah,
And I was like, what the hell? I've been like we've been like talking about and legitimate fans of and regular watchers of Progress for 180 some odd days. It's got that in it.
well,
Like I
me
was
and you,
like,
Kai. Adam has been a regular
no,
viewer of Progress for much
no,
longer than Cara
I
Noir's title reign.
no, I know that. What I'm saying is like there was obviously you dipped in and out. This is what I'm saying. You
Mm,
didn't. None of us paid as much attention of Progress as we do now. That's what I'm
yeah,
saying. Do you know what I
yeah,
mean? I was aware of Progress. I had seen Progress, but I wouldn't say, "Oh yeah, I'm a proper diehard Progress fan." Like I know everything about. Like I didn't. I knew bits and bobs, and I knew what was going on, and I knew who was who. But like now, it's different. Now you're like, "Oh yeah, remember that rivalry like from 6 months ago?" And I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, I lived
yeah,
it. Yeah,
That match? Yep.
yeah.
yeah." Do you know what
That
I mean? Like,
5-star tag match? Yep.
yeah, yeah, like that. It's different. Like I feel like you get to a point where you're like, right, I can call myself a fan of this now.
Mm,
Like, a fan
definitely.
of this person, a fan of this promotion. Like if you like, I used to be a really big fan of New Japan. I can't say that anymore. I'm not a big fan of New Japan. Not that I'm not a fan of it. I just don't watch it. So I wouldn't be like, oh yeah, I love New Japan wrestling, I love it. Because I don't. Because that's not what a fan is. Do you know what I mean? AEW, unfortunately, yeah, I'm a big fan. I watch it all the time.
AEW, unfortunately.
I mean,
don't forget where that ticket came from,
you
Ty.
gotta, like, I mean, you gotta wade through some shit on that show, lad, I'm telling you. But anyway, that's what I'm saying. I feel like I can say, I'm like, we're like straight up, we're Progress fans now. Like, that's what we do. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's part of the wrestling rotation in our lives. Progress is one of them. Know what I mean?
Yeah,
Definitely.
That's what I'm saying. It's a good thing. But I was like, oh, 100 and something days. That's Arnold. Look at that.
Yeah.
Seeing everything they've done in the last 200 days.
Months.
Yeah. Know what I mean? That's a
Definitely.
big thing.
I know.
Like,
It
it is.
is.
Like, we'll have our anniversary show when we've done Progress stuff for a year. Know what I mean?
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Looking back at the year in progress.
Yeah, we'll do that. But we'll do it on our anniversary, not like
Yeah, not a calendar year.
no, not like
Yeah.
January.
No.
Like, we'll do it
We'll
like
still include the stuff from the November the year before.
yeah.
Like, what? That didn't happen this year.
Yeah, there you go. So go on. So we're gonna break down the brackets. So the brackets have been released.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna do something dead interesting here, right? And I'm gonna make myself do it, right?
Okay.
So if you're watching on YouTube,
Oh.
I will. You'll be able to see the brackets now. Okay. There you go.
I was when you edit it, I thought like what are you gonna do?
So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put the bracket up for some people.
Oh, right, okay.
Right. There you go.
There you go. Those were the brackets.
Yeah.
Just to mention as well, actually, make sure we mention Rio later.
Yeah.
So
is the world title and the women's title the only two matches that have been announced?
yes, as well as the tournament, obviously.
Yes.
Well, obviously, yeah. What I mean, yeah, obviously, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll talk Rio. I think if they did a women's strong style, Rio would have to win the first one.
Depends if she's still there or not.
Well, she can come back.
She can come back.
One night only.
Come back as women's intercontinental champion.
Yeah. No, I'd say more women's North American title.
Oh, right, okay. Next year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think she's NXT bound, not WWE.
Yeah. I mean, I was shooting for the stars. That was all.
No, I know that. I'm just saying, like, if you're gonna, I think it's gonna be NXT, like, more so than straight to the main roster. I like. Do you know what though? I like when indie people. I prefer to go to NXT to kind of like get the WWE like idea.
The polish.
Yeah, not even the polish, just like the knowing where the cameras are and
the breadcrumbs.
Like, yeah, like you knowing what you're doing and it just not polishing the wrestling, more the production.
Yeah,
I feel like that's what NXT is about more. Like I think Rio could smash anyone's head in, to be fair. That idea of like making her look like an absolute star when she comes onto the main roster. With anybody, to be fair, it's the same with anyone. But I think that's what NXT is good for. Like Ricky Saints now. Ricky Saints is really working like understanding like the production of it. And I think that's what is more important for him right now. Does that make sense? I think that would be the same like a Rio. And even Luke Jacobs, if that ended up happening, because obviously we had rumours and rumblings of tryouts for them both. So like, but anyone, doesn't matter who it is, like any indie wrestler, I feel like NXT is more about learning the production and how they produce matches. And you know what, as well, obviously this is a bit of a tangent, but learning breaks as well. Like I remember watching something or listening to a podcast and they were like talking about it, and they were like, learning breaks is so hard because obviously you don't have that in the indies. Like that's not a thing. But learning to like having a match for 10 minutes and then it's like, right, we're going to break, but you've got to continue the match, but not do anything flashy or interesting or exciting because no one's going to see it, only the cards, but you've got to keep the cards like in the match. So it's one of them where, it's one of them where, sorry, I just got all excited there. I think that's what NXT is more about for somebody like that. But like learning all that shit. Anyway, sorry, go on. Whatever time.
I was gonna say something about that as well.
He put his brackets up 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, you got to put the brackets back up to remind people. Bit
Here's
like
the bracket.
you'd be like the generation game. Do you remember who was on the left-hand side? I think you just have to look at the success of Stephanie Bakaya and Julia, where in the space of what 7, 8 months of them signing with the company, they're already making appearances on Raw and SmackDown.
Yeah,
And I also think that the NXT Women's Division is going to be drastically different in the next few months because of a lot of the call-ups to where the more names brought in, the better. So we could see, Rio versus Jordan Grace, Rio versus Sol Ruka, Rio versus Cora Jade. There's lots of names there where it just changes so much NXT,
yeah,
and with the names like Stephanie going up, I feel like there's just going to be like 3 or 4 big names signed still in like the next 12 months, possibly even Mariah May, but that's for another day.
I think as well that that's why the ID thing. I'm shocked that like they're doing like tryouts when the ID thing's a thing. Like
Yeah, because you'd
surely
almost assume that they were going to go through that
you know
path.
yeah
Yeah.
the I think it's going to be interesting. Like I think so. Somebody wins the ID title, whoever it may be, defends it against Rio or like Luke Jacobs, or anyone, and that person automatically becomes an ID prospect.
Yeah.
Who, if they win the
Yeah,
title, that's insane.
Hmm.
That you've added that like excitement to it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's super. Like that, I would. It'd be cool if one of them was that first person to like the ID champ is crowned,
Mm.
and then
mm,
whoever she is
Defends
faces.
it on a progress show. Yeah.
Yeah, and
mm,
then Rio wins, and it's like, okay, she's the champ, but
Yeah.
also she's an ID prospect. Like
Yeah.
that's how she became a prospect. That's a
yeah.
good that's not a bad way to look at stuff. Do you know what I mean? So, um, but yeah, the brackets, go on.
Anyway, the
Here
brackets are
they are,
back
the
up.
Anyway, the brackets. Put the brackets back up.
Take it back, boys.
Brackets
Take
are
it
falling
back.
down. Uh, so we're going to start with I suppose it's the left-hand side of the bracket. Don't matter. One side of the bracket. So opening matches. Man like Doris versus Ethan Allen. I mean, are we
I
talking about
mean,
stacking it?
the first match you're losing somebody who could arguably go to the final.
100%.
Like, what even is that?
We need our official SLTD predictions here. We need
Yeah,
you know, who are we picking?
I think we do. One of two things could happen. Whereas where we've said the Reese could actually go the whole way, or Ethan Allen could win because Luke Jacob gets involved because he's like, I'm not facing the
I'm
Reese
facing Doris
again.
again.
I'm not doing that shit. I'm not facing him. Alan, come on, get past this guy. I'm not having him. Telling you.
See,
I'm going to say Reese because
technically, just off your idea there,
yeah,
you could have a whole like Young Guns stop boisterous behavior thing in the opening round.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
Oh, see, this is all it gets difficult.
I'm going to Reese because I said I think he'd win it. So
I'm going to Reese.
I'm going to Reese. All right. So, Callum, what are you saying?
I feel that if Ethan Allen wins this match, he wins the tournament. It,
Oh,
it's that thing of the show after this one is in Manchester. Yeah, months ago, Adam was saying, "Oh, what about Jacobs versus the Super Strong Style winner Ethan Allen at that show?" Young Guns collide.
Young
Yeah,
Guns Civil War.
Young Guns explode. Um, but then at the same time, like you two, I could still see Doris winning and
yeah.
just going not straight through to the finals, but it's like the two favourites in the first round for me, where both of them could legitimately win the tournament and legitimately become world champion.
Hmm.
Thing is, because it's probably gonna be like the first match, if I say Ethan Allen and he loses, I'm like, oh well, that's me done for the whole week.
Well, we're going to do it as a unanimous decision
Yeah.
here.
Well, it
But
doesn't
not
matter then.
unanimous, but it's going to. So
But at that point,
on,
it's Doris.
on yeah. So on the on the point system, I suppose. Like Reese is going down, but you
Yeah.
do know what you're thinking.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm going to say Ethan Allen because I think from a storyline perspective, it will be really interesting for him to actually win the whole tournament.
Mm.
yes. Interestingly, though, I've thought about this a few times that if Luke Jacobs keeps the title, I think he's going to lose at is it 100 volts?
Oh yeah.
I think he's that because I think that's going to be a big show,
Okay.
and I think that's where he's going to lose it, not
Mm.
necessarily in Manchester, but then at the same time, that's where he's from. So I'm losing it there would be a bigger thing. Oh, God, I'm putting Denise down for this match,
Yeah.
and then we're moving on. There's too many variables. I don't like it.
This is it. Right, next one. Tate Mayfairs versus Masa Kitamiya. Um, I mean, I'm not going to change my mind. I wrote Tate Mayfairs down.
Do you know what? Right, I think we're kind of going to do a little bit of a disservice to Massa here, right?
Yeah.
Because none of us are really up on what he does,
Mhm.
but through purely us knowing what Tate Mayfair can do, I feel like that's where we're going.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
is that a fair assumption? And I do apologize, but I don't want to be that like person who's like, oh, Tate Mayfair's got no chance of nobody else, and then, but from the look of him, he looks like he could like chew through a wall.
Knock
So,
off our blocks.
yeah. But because we know, because we know what Tate can do, I think Tate's the obvious one, innit?
Yeah,
Like that fair.
Yeah.
definitely.
Knock our block off.
I don't know why I said knock off our blocks. That doesn't make sense.
It's a proper Alan Partridge thing, that, innit? Your block off. Jesus.
Marcus Mathers versus Will Cruz.
Okay. I'm so intrigued by Cruz, like, because he's just angry and a giant, and I think he's just gonna come out and be an absolute powerhouse and just. I feel like this match is either gonna be absolutely sublime because he's gonna show off everything he can do, or it's gonna be like three moves and he's gonna pin him, and Cruz is just gonna be like, "Who's next?" Like, I'm not asked. Like, I'm so interested to see the difference between like number one nephew and this guy who on the picture is just screaming at the place. Like he looks like a completely different person. He's not like, oh God, deer in the headlights. He's like, I am gonna kill you.
Mm.
Like I'm gonna knock you out in three moves, set myself on fire, and run through a wall. That's what I'm gonna do. Like, just all right. So I feel like it's got to be Cruz. Like I don't know what you. That's me.
See, my logic is at some point Gene Money's getting involved here,
Yeah,
whether it's the last 16, the quarter final, the semi final, or the final itself. I don't see Will Cruz winning it all because of
yeah.
Gene Money. And I don't know whether I want it to happen in the first round or at a later stage because there's that part of me that thinks oh, if it happens in the semi final, it sort of makes whoever Will Cruz's opponent go through a bit of a fluke.
Yeah.
Um, but at the same time, I really want Will Cruz to have like a breakout performance as a single star. And I think if he got knocked out at the first hurdle, it would be a real shame.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say Will Cruz for this match on the assumption that he probably gets cheated out of his quarterfinal match.
See, because I wrote Marcus Mathers down because I don't know. I feel like he'd go through the opening round, and if they were going to do the screw Cruz thing, it would be in the opening round.
Okay.
Because then at that point, because what they tend to do with the strong style is night two has an undercard of matches that tend to get announced during night one, if not shortly after night one, featuring the talent that have been knocked out in the tournament.
Ah,
So I would imagine that Gene Money versus Will Cruz is going to get made as a match for night two.
right. Okay.
Hmm.
Um,
Next one is Charlie Sterling versus Simon Miller.
this is a tough one, isn't it?
Yeah,
So we've talked about wanting Sterling to like again be a standout and this to be his thing, and like to be looked at different and all that stuff. Um, but then Miller is he's just one of them dudes who he's just a fluke, isn't he? Doesn't I don't know.
He doesn't lose much.
No, I'm going with Sterling, but then at the same time he's just lost his title, so I don't know.
I'm going Sterling.
I'm going Sterling. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm going Sterling.
Yay.
there you go.
The Charlie.
He's going to pound him.
Excuse you.
Pound Sterling.
Oh, God.
That was
That should
so
be his
bad.
first name, Pound Sterling.
Instead of being the smoking ace Charlie Sterling, he could be Charlie the Pound Sterling.
Charlie the Pound Sterling.
You know what I
Oh,
mean? Come out in a
God.
bowler hat and that. Bum, ba-da, bum, bum, bum. Dead British.
He's never listening to us again, is he?
No,
Christ.
no. And then his finisher can be like legal tender. You know what I mean?
Oh,
I think you'll
God.
find it's legal tender.
Steals
We're
one from
creating
Mercedes
image,
money. Here's the bank statement.
We're creating. Don't. By the way, Charlie Sterling, if you are, don't do this as a gimmick.
Don't
It's
do
awful.
this, Charlie.
Don't-
Stick to the smoking ace.
Don't do that. Oh my God, the Pound Sterling and doing that.
Pound Sterling.
God.
There's your legal tender. Oh, hang on. Oh, he's had a deposit. What?
Don't do that. Awful, awful gimmick. Jesus.
No, because
Where are we
they'd
up
win
to?
Thunder Bastard and they'd say, oh, he's making a withdrawal. Anyway, right,
Oh,
other
dear.
side of the bracket. So any pick up on my Zach Morris, Leon Slater 90s reference?
Saved by the Bell.
Saved by the Bell.
Yeah, man.
Ah,
Morris
How
and
did,
Slater.
how did you
fine.
not get Saved by the Bell, Callum? What
Come on.
are you doing?
Again, I was born in 1998.
Whatever.
All right. I mean, wait, hang on. Like, time out a second, right? So you've just said, "Oh, I didn't. I was born in that. I don't know why you talk like this. Oh, I don't know. I was born in. I was born in 1990, in 1998. I don't know. Saved by the Bell. Rewind an hour. You sat there and said, "Yeah, I'm wearing a shirt.
Mash.
Like
Mash.
Mash. Ended in 72 or something. You messing?
That was me in a previous life.
Oh,
Jesus.
God.
Ended about 40 years before you were born, and you're
The
like,
amount of
"Oh,
references that Callum makes about Leslie Nielsen, like Airplane, Naked Gun.
I tell you what, Paul
Yeah.
Walterhauser, the current Proteus
Yeah.
champion,
Yeah.
it will be playing a big role in the Naked Gun reboot
yes,
later
We've got
on
to
in
get
the
him
summer.
on.
yeah, got to." I wonder, talking about it,
Golden Globe winner.
I wonder what his stipulation is.
At 5:30 on a Tuesday when I've taught all day, my head isn't thinking.
I'm thinking it's got to be an Oscar-nominated person. So, you know what I mean?
All the time.
All the time.
Comes
You've
over
gotta
for a
be
progress
nominated.
show and he's facing Nick Park, the creator of Wallace and
Yeah.
Gromit.
You know what I mean?
Feathers
There's
McGrath
gotta
to the
be some
face.
sort of award winner to wrestle for the title. That's what you got to do.
Some sort of award winner. I'm an award winner.
Well, there you go then. You should wrestle. There you go. Yeah. So, Saved by the Bell. We're gonna
Yeah. So Morris and Slater. I've got Slater going through on this one.
Yeah, I feel like this is like an international match, you know what I mean? This is like
Yeah.
like people know these people. People know these people. But yeah, I feel like Slater is on the rise more so. So yeah, I would say Slater. Especially after his showing at Rebellion.
I hope he comes out with the X Division title.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
Or just like a replica of it.
Yeah. Me too.
Right, Kid Lycos 2 versus Zazoya.
I feel like this feels like the same situation as Tate Massa, to be fair. I haven't seen anything of Zazoya. I am going to before this starts to see what I'm getting myself into. Same with Massa, but I feel like we're going with Lycos 2, aren't we?
I've gone for Zazoya.
Have you? In my head, the reason I'm putting this down as Lycos 2 because I feel like we could get a Lycos gym match.
No,
Know what I mean?
No.
No?
no. Because for you to get a Lycos gym match, you need
Oh, yes,
Lycos to
sorry.
get
Yeah, yeah,
out
sorry.
of
Yeah, yeah.
the
Yeah,
round and the quarters at that point. And
yes.
unfortunately, I don't see that happening.
Yes, sorry. Yeah, I was looking. Yeah, because it's in the. Yeah, right. Okay. Sorry. Yeah, my bad.
Mm.
My bad. It's in the middle.
Oh, you're in charge of the brackets, man.
Oh, no, sorry. Here's the brackets again.
Is his broken
So,
bracket?
do you go on Zazuya?
I've gone Zazoya, yeah.
Okay.
So it's
You
Callum's
done?
choice.
Yeah, I'll go for Zoya as
Oh, there you
well. We
go.
saw Zoya on the first Progress show that we reviewed. He was part of the Fatal Four Way that had Ricky Knight Jr.,
The
Connor
Oh,
Mike
yeah,
Godwin,
D
he was.
fatal
Mike
Yeah,
four
D.
way.
he was.
Yeah,
Yeah. I take that
Banger
back.
match that.
Yeah, I take
yeah.
that back.
Love
I forgot
that.
that. Get on you. Um,
I was actually hoping Mike D might be announced as one of the final ones, especially because he was supposed to face
Yes.
Axel Tischer and then that didn't end up happening. And
I mean, he absolutely flattened Kuro.
oh, he battered Kuro. Sorry, you can't have your Atlas title match. Do you want to batter this Frenchman?
he battered him, man.
He
He
battered
battered him.
him.
He bat- You know why? He knocked his block off.
He knocked his block off. He blocked his knockoff.
Michael Oku versus Lycos. Kid
uh,
Lycos.
yeah, I'm saying that's Oku.
It's gotta be Oku,
Yeah.
ain't it?
Yeah.
That's such a bad like
Bad spot
draw.
for Lycos.
Yeah, like Lycos so good.
I mean, I
But
can't imagine them having Oku in the tournament and him going out in the first round.
yeah, like
Yeah.
it does seem a bit I don't know, like you never know. The
Yeah.
upset of the night. Never know.
Well, this
Like
is it.
but then I don't know, because Lycos he's the only one who's won it before, and so to knock him out in the
Yeah.
first round is a bit like
Yeah.
That's a bit of a story, though. And anyway,
yeah.
like
In
the
giving
first.
Oku the win over the yeah.
Yeah, true. And then the last match, 10-7 versus Crowley.
I've got Trent.
I'm 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 backing Crowley. As much as I would love Trent Seven to go all the way. I'm going with me heart and not me head, and I want Charles Crowley to win. So it's on you, Callum.
So this isn't going to go to like a Harry Hill skit. You see, that actually happened whilst I was alive. Um, I would like Charles Crowley to win, but the trouble is for me, I look at the bracket and I think the winner of this match is going to face Michael Oku, and it's like a Trent
Yeah.
versus Michael Oku match is like a main event of any Progress show worthy.
Yeah,
But at the same time, I think Crowley winning would do so much for his career, and
that's what I'm thinking.
it would sort of like not change who he is, because as a character he won't change, I hope, but to get almost like a serious side out of him would be really good for the tournament. But Trent Seven's going to win.
Love you, Crowley.
Okay, all right. No, it's okay. It's all right.
So
We
If
can
he
work with it.
if he like falls short, Crowley, he puts up like it's a 15-20 minute match and he just loses by a whisker.
Mm,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, it'd be a good match either way. Like,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm not mad about it. Like, it's just one of them. Yeah, I don't know. But let's move on. We move on.
Semi-finals then.
Yeah. So we've got Man Like Denise versus Tate Mayfair.
Darius.
Yeah, with saying Denise is going to win, it's going to be hard to say.
Darius.
But then Tate is on a bit of a. Oh, this one will be interesting. Callum, what are you thinking?
I mean, I wouldn't mind Tate winning just to see Adam's reaction.
I mean, I'll be totally honest, and this has just popped into my head now. I do not buy that Eddie Dennis is retired.
I was just about to say this. I think Eddie Dennis is gonna be some part of this.
100 volts. Eddie and Tate, one last time.
Yeah, but they've already had the last man standing match, haven't they? Like,
I mean, at this point, I mean, if you're gonna put it out there, you have a career match or something like that.
oh, yeah.
Mm.
I mean, if you're calling it 100 volts, have an electric cage match.
Yeah.
There you go.
Or like
What was that barbed wire explosion thing that went off really badly in AEW?
I mean, the match was boss at the end, and it was crap. They had a what was it called? Like it was a cage match, but the cage was they had a bar at the top of the cage and at the bottom of the cage in TNA that was um like live wire. So it was
Yeah,
like
yeah.
an electrocution steel cage match or something. Um
Oh God.
do that. Do that. Know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Take the TNT champ. Like
He
he's
can take it.
always yeah. And again, being in the loop with progress as we are. When the match with Tate and Jacobs happened, we released that, and I made a big thing, and I will put my hands up. I made a big thing about it being gimmicked, and it was like, oh, yeah, well, anything can be gimmicked, you know what I mean? And the tables they can be gimmicked, and the thumbtacks they can be well, drawing pins they can all be gimmicked. And somebody from Progress got back to us and was like, I can tell you that they were not gimmicked. So Tate is double tough. Know what I mean?
Yeah, but he's not beating
Douglas.
Doris.
Well, no, not yet. But what we're saying is. He's out here, but
Yeah.
not because of any other reason. I think Eddie Dennis is going to screw him here. You're right. Okay. So, man like Darius is going through. But yeah, 100 volts in a cage
Yeah.
with 100 volts.
Kennel from hell.
Kennel from hell. What is it? A dead dog?
Dead dog.
Their dog match.
Dead dog match.
In the dead dog.
The dead dog match.
A
What year
dead
did Tom
dog.
Petty die?
I was free falling that year.
Anyway, got to referencing ourselves now. This is
I
our
know,
bad
reference
start.
ourselves. And
Yeah.
people who are listening are like,
In
what are you on
jokes for
about?
ourselves.
Go and listen to all our old stuff. It's really funny. It is really funny. So we've got Mathers versus Charlie Sterling.
No, we've got Will Cruz versus Charlie Sterling.
We've got Will Cruz. I thought you both said
I said Mathers.
I said Cruz.
Yeah.
Oh,
okay. So it's
Will,
Cruz.
yeah, it's Cruz versus Sterling.
Okay. All right. Cruz versus Sterling. Right. Okay. Go on.
Sterling.
Ooh. Cause of G money.
Yeah.
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 Because for our boy Charlie, semi-final match, Charlie Sterling versus Man like Darius. We'll get to that in a minute, but I'm just saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
Leon Slater versus Azoya. Slater.
Slater.
Yeah, I'd have to say Slater as well.
Because of what that means for the next semi-final match. Just
Yeah.
FYI. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Michael Oku versus Trent Seven.
Feel like that could be a final. Why are we doing this so early?
Oku.
Okay.
The thing is, though, on this side of the bracket, that could never be a final.
No, I understand that, but okay, so I might be missing something here, right? I know that they did the what are they called? They had Ed Gamble doing the
Yeah.
So I haven't watched this. Has anyone seen what actually happens?
Yes. Yeah, I
So-
watched it.
Is this like a European Cup in football thing where they pull balls out?
It was done sort of with cards to fit in with the theme of Las Vegas.
Right,
So like, you had someone's name written on the Ace of Hearts.
right.
But how it sort of worked out, they pulled a card out or revealed a card. It had man like Darius on. Next one was Ethan Allen, and they sort of went down from there. So that's how
Right.
the left-hand side of the bracket came out, and then for the same thing on the right-hand side.
Right, okay.
But it is like how they do like a football tournament or any other tour. They weren't like seeded or anything. It was
Yes.
it was drawn out as one after another, but they weren't like ranked from 1 to 16.
Yeah, I get you. So it went like balls in a bag.
Yeah, yeah, but it's like
That's
it was
the only way I can.
Oh,
no,
no.
it's fine. But
So
but it
were
was
like
like
balls in the bag.
it was like
That's what
how
happens.
it was like how like a World Cup or a European Championship works out after the group stage.
Right.
Similar
That's
to what
yeah.
similar to what we did for our World Cup, where we had one side of the bracket and then
Yeah.
opposite side of the bracket.
Yeah.
So not to ask the Father Christmas question, but do you think it was?
I mean, it's got to be. They've got to know where they're
Yeah,
going.
yeah.
Ollie. Like it wasn't a. That's what I mean. Like a balls in a bag situation is you don't know what you're pulling out. Know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's the idea, isn't it? Why?
Because it's
Like,
funny. Balls in
why
the
are you
bag and you don't know
laughing?
what you're pulling out.
Well, that's what it is, isn't it?
Usually,
Like
get to the Chinese, it's prawn balls.
I'm
Oh
just
God.
Callum, you're meant to be the one who's like know what I'm talking about here.
No, it's fine. In like an FA Cup draw, when you do
Yeah.
get balls coming out of a bag, it's like ball number 27 is Nottingham Forest,
Yeah,
ball
yeah.
number 25 is Man City. Go something yourself, Man City fans, after what
Right.
happened on
So
Sunday.
that is completely
But
completely random.
that's like a random blind draw.
Right. This wasn't a completely random line draw. That's what I'm getting at.
Yes. Well, I think it was shot to make it look like it was, but it probably wasn't.
Bro, yeah, because everything's a work, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, The Rock said it. I'm just saying what The Rock said. You know what I
Montreal
mean?
Screwjob. What? Don't get
It
him
was
started.
that that was a work. All right. That was a work. Everybody came out looking too sweet. All right.
Right. Anyway, Michael
Yeah.
Oku's going through. He's beating Trent Seven.
Okay. Oku versus Trent. All
Yeah.
right.
So
Eh,
then your semi-finals,
yes.
man like Derice versus Charlie Sterling.
I just would love Charlie Sterling to
I
do
mean,
this.
I would, but I've got to stick with my initial pick, and I've got to say Derice.
Yeah, I feel like
But I've got to
Denise.
say one hell of a showing for Charlie Sterling in his first real
Yes.
test as a singles star.
100%. Like yeah, I just love that.
Yeah.
And then Slater and Oku. Like,
Huge.
Mm.
yeah, I feel like either one is a good win to get to man like Derice in the final.
I'm saying Oku.
I think Oku because I think he's on his kind of last hurrah in the Indies. Like he's gonna end up somewhere. So I feel like they're gonna be like, we want you on the show as much as possible. We want you around, like, so you can be when he does touchdown in AEW or WWE or whatever it may be, you can be like, oh, super strong star finalist,
Mhm.
former progress did. Do you know what I mean? Like that's what you would hope for. But then you get Slater, who's like he's in TNA, like so it's the same thing. I'm going
And
with
it being a slated to Reese final.
Slater.
I mean, I said about 45 minutes ago, just a bit after I talked about my flowery shirt, that Michael Oku is going to win the tournament. So I look really bad if I say he gets knocked out of the semi-finals now.
Say Oku, and then we'll go with that. It's fine. It's
So
all good.
yeah, Michael Oku.
Whoa.
So we've got Oku and Reese in the final.
Yeah.
Who are you saying?
Derice.
Okay. Callum, do you think Oku's winning?
Yeah, Oku.
Pair of bastards. So I've got to decide who wins this. I feel like Reese winning would arguably do more than Oku winning. That's where my head's going. There's more of a story with Oku being this world renowned wrestler who everyone all over the world knows, and he's wrestled here and he's wrestled there and he's done this and he's done that. I feel like Darius beating him is a better story than Oku's a powerhouse and can't be stopped. That's where my head's going. So I'm going to say Darius.
Oh,
Just because, yeah, I feel like there's more of an
Oh,
interesting.
1-2-1.
Yeah, I feel like Mandrake Darius is more interesting. But then he's been on TNA. I know who's been on Ring of Honor, which is, I mean, either one you could say.
I mean, the sort of the caveat to it is, and you know, you imagine that the way that fans would react to it is that this is one of those situations where you automatically end up with a match that we've seen before
mm,
between
Yeah,
Darius and Jacobs, which I don't think is necessarily a bad thing. I think that the story has gone on as it has done since the last time they faced each other.
yeah,
But I
but this
think
is the
if
thing where you're like, he's faced him before, and Jacobs can be like, I've already done this, and you haven't beat me.
yeah,
Like, it's a not to bring it into like, oh, we're copying storyline and all that, but it's very much a Gunther Jey Uso situation. Do you know what I
mm.
mean? Like, he's like, I've beat you. I have no interest in facing you. Like, I've already done this. Like, why are we doing this again? Like, why am I giving you a title shot when I've already done it? And Denise is like, well, I've won this, so I'm having a title shot.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
So then
and then
When Darius wins the title, Luke Jacobs is going to go and face Ollie from commentary.
Or Warren Banks.
Oh, Warren Banks.
yeah, but
Um,
that's what I mean. So like in that ideology of it all, into like kind of that whole story, you've kind of got the where they were like they were faced each other, and then they did the tag team thing, and then it's like he can be like, I've already done this, and it's like, okay, give me one more, and then that's when at 100 votes, it's like this is it was like, sound, I'll face you, but this is your last chance. Like, as long as I'm champion, I'm not facing you again because I've
Yeah.
already done it, and then that's when Denise wins.
Because 100 volts is it's the day after Forbidden Door, isn't it? Is
Yes,
it a bank holiday one?
I do not know.
Let's have a look.
So yeah,
Because we know that we've got obviously Strong Style, and then we've got the Manchester show.
yes,
yeah.
So it's sort of where we go after that. Um,
I mean, there's a bit of a break as well between Strong Style and the Manchester show because the Manchester show is at the end of
the end of
June.
June, yeah.
yeah.
So you've got Strong Style, obviously May the 4th and May the 5th. And then you've got Far From Ordinary People, which is the Manchester show, which is the 29th of June. Then you've got Stay Humble at the Ballroom, 27th of July. So that's a month after the Manchester one. And then 100 volts back at the Ballroom, 100 shows at the Electric Ballroom, Monday the 25th of August at 3 p.m. Yeah, so it's the day after Forbidden Door.
Mm.
Right. I'm
Bank
still
holiday.
interested in going to that Forbidden Door, but I don't know if it's going to happen.
The tickets looked quite expensive, to be honest.
That I thought.
Is that the O2 Arena?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which it's a weird one because I thought they'd be a bit cheaper because it's not.
I think it was a Ticketmaster dynamic pricing thing again, that when I had a look, the cheapest that was coming up was 260 quid.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
But then, I mean, it's not as bad as SummerSlam in MetLife, but where they want 40 grand a ticket.
I mean, they've
Green
sold out.
shirt guy.
There's
Shirt guy.
very, very limited tickets.
For
So,
40 grand?
yeah. Haven't you seen the thing to be like the 40 grand? But the very limited tickets left. Like,
Jesus
if you
Christ.
want one, like, you need to get on it. But
They
I
only
wonder how
started-
much, if they're 40 grand TV side, I wonder how much they are the other side. You know what I mean? Because obviously it's TV side, so you're like, well, you're going to be on the show.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And people pay attention.
Let's just keep going to progress.
I mean, yeah, 100%. Let's do it.
Yeah.
So we all think Mandrake the Reese is going to win. Are we? I have said about beating Luke Jacobs at 100 volts. Are we like no chance, or are we like, yeah? Do you think he's going to win the tournament and win the title? Is what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
Okay. Before we
Well, hang on, because I was gonna just reference because Callum did this bit.
okay.
What
Oh,
Callum put on our document
Okay.
about
but
the sort of success
the
rate.
record
Yeah,
success rate.
Right, okay.
yeah. So obviously, I sort of mentioned before that it's not been fantastic. Um, so let me find it. Hang on.
I mean, I could just find it on my phone.
Yeah, go on. You do that.
But why are you doing
Um,
that? I was
The
gonna
other
say,
thing was Rio.
yeah, before all that, I was gonna say, um, before we move on from the brackets and that, we think man like Denise is gonna win, right? Who do you think's gonna be the MVP? Like
Charlie
who do you
Sterling.
think?
Charlie Sterling.
Yeah, I was thinking
If he
Sterling.
reaches the semi-finals, as we have
Yeah.
very smartly predicted,
Yeah,
then he will be the MVP,
I would say yes. That was my shout.
future Atlas champion.
Maybe Slater as
I think I was going to say exactly the same thing, Callum. That I think surely if Charlie gets to the semi-finals, he's owed a Atlas title shot
yeah.
off the back of that. You know?
He's one of them people who could he could win that and proper like run with it.
Yeah.
Like I feel like we've already talked about this about like the booking of the Atlas title being a bit hit and miss, and even more so with Simon Miller not being the Proteus champ anymore. So the argument is the Proteus championship may not be around for every show. We'll say.
Because I ain't got a clue how they're getting that back over here, by the way.
I was going to say, I can't really imagine Paul Walter Hauser. He might do. You never
Yeah,
know. But I can't imagine him,
Oh, two Ritz.
yeah,
yeah. I
taking a
mean, to
trip
be
over to
fair,
Manchester.
when's the UK premiere of Naked Gun?
No,
In
no,
about
just
August.
I'd tie it all in.
If he's
Yeah.
coming over for that, may as well defend
Well,
his
I mean, I
title.
suppose actually, as a wrestling fan, if he's coming over for Forbidden Door,
Hmm?
Mm,
There you
100
go.
volts again.
yeah.
Yeah. So it could be like all I'm saying is Sam Miller is always there.
Do I need to be looking for train tickets to London for 100 volts?
Maybe
You
we'll
might see
see.
Liam Neeson cost Paul Walter Hauser.
Oh, God.
Maybe. What we need to do is we need Farron's on film to get
Mm.
invited to the UK premiere, all expenses paid for
And then,
Naked Gun. And then
Yeah.
while we're there,
yeah.
right, then we'll go see some wrestling. That's what we need to do.
You know,
Right. So I need to be mad at you for not doing enough for yourself,
yeah.
and then you need to get invited to the premiere.
Okay.
It's got Cody Rhodes in as well.
That's it.
Yeah.
Didn't
I
know
mean,
that.
it's just made for,
Yeah.
Apparently, Liv Morgan's like a shoe-in for
do you
these big.
reckon Avengers?
I don't know. I can't see her being MJ. I'll be not MJ, being Gwen Stacy. I don't know. That's too much.
Mm, okay.
No, no, nope, nope. And you're not going to get a better person to be Gwen Stacy than Emma Stone.
Well, just because again we're going off track here. If you're naming it, who do you think? Just making sure that I'm going to lock up. um, cut that. Won't cut that.
Got that.
Behind the scenes. Um, who's the special guest referee for Rio versus Nina
This is
Sam?
always just about to watch it.
Me and Callum both said the same person in the chat, and now I can't think of anyone else.
It's either Miko Satomura or Rain Leverkusen for me. Because obviously Rain has got that sort of beef
Rain
with
would be
Nina
good, yeah.
Samuels.
Yes, she does.
I don't know because I'm a bit like maybe we're looking at it like well, it's got to be this person, it's got to be that person, but who maybe there's like a huge rival of Rio that it's like it's like against all odds type situation. Do you know what I mean?
Um,
Like a Lizzie Evo or something. Do you know what I mean? Like we've had like matches throughout the career. Um, and then you're like, who could it be? And we're looking at it like, oh, it's like it's gonna be someone who she's linked to, but
Mm.
we're looking at it like nice links, not
Yeah.
Live.
Bad links.
Do you know what I mean? So that's why I'm a bit like, I don't know. I don't know. But then he could like go completely left field and it'd be like special referee, like friggin' Lita or something, or Mickey James or some crap like that. Like it wouldn't shock me if they did something mad where it was like an actual like women's wrestling
I mean,
megastar.
you've always got like a Lana Austin, haven't you? You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's no real link, is there? Like there's no. I don't think Rio and I wouldn't put Rio and Lana together.
Well,
To be
I'm having a quick sort of potted look on Wikipedia, and she beat Lana for the title, which started her lengthy run then.
oh right, okay.
Um, Giselle Shaw's mentioned because she had a match against Giselle Shaw at one point.
That's the thing. I
Um,
feel like it could be someone who's like not necessarily linked to Rio, but what would be interesting is if it's not somebody linked to Rio in the sense of like history,
mm,
but it's linked to Rio in the sense of future. Because
Hmm.
it's very, 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 very rare, and it doesn't happen half as much as it should. But imagine there being a situation where the special referee is somebody from WWE who was being around a long time. They have the match, and then at the end of it, she's like, "Oh, by the way, do you want to sign this contract?" It doesn't happen often, and
mm,
I don't think it's going to happen in the sense that I didn't think of it until it came out of my mouth. But that would be quite interesting.
So like a Natalia.
Yeah, like could be, yeah, like as I say, like a Mickey James or somebody who's under the umbrella of WWE comes out. You get that WWE pop. You get that like, oh my God, like it's a women's wrestling legend, blah, 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 all that stuff. And then at the end, win or lose, she's like, yeah, you put on a showing. What about this? Do you want to sign this? And then she's got a like the developmental contract.
Hmm.
well, the one I was just having a look then at the ones who were technically down as ambassadors.
Yeah,
So you've got Victoria,
Victoria would be good.
um, Michelle McCool,
Nah,
uh,
Hall of Famer.
Kelly,
Kelly.
Jacqueline, Eve Torres. That's it.
Hmm.
Jacqueline would be good.
Well, I mean, I
Yeah.
think Mickey would be a shout if she was still doing the LFG.
Oh yeah, she's
Hmm.
not. Think he
Yeah,
is.
Yeah.
That's some politic and that.
of course it is.
Yeah.
Undertaker being a bitch.
Because
Um.
that's the other thing. I wouldn't trust the pop of Michelle McCool coming out at the ballroom versus James coming out at the ballroom.
Yeah.
See, I wonder whether it could be someone who's recently departed from either WWE or AEW. So like a Nixon Newell or a
Yeah.
Soraya.
Yeah. Ah, Saraya would be good. That would be good. I'd like that. That would be good.
Oh
Um.
yeah, because she's gone, hasn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she's not anywhere. So that'd be interesting.
Mm.
Man, you should have it. She just started wrestling progress. Oh, that'd be sweet. That
Maybe.
I'd love all that. Interesting. Interesting.
There's Ricky
Oh,
Knight Jr.
some saying.
Yeah.
Some saying.
Oh.
Right, okay. All right.
Anyway,
Yeah.
Anyway, I've got my
Uh,
fact or
oh, yeah, go
facts, I should
on.
say.
what the fact?
Um.
What the
So
fact?
in total, there have been 8 Super Strong Style 16 tournaments. Only 3 of the winners have gone on to win in their world title match. So the first winner of Super Strong Style, Will Ospreay, defeated Name Redacted. In 2017, Name Redacted defeated Pete Dunne. And in 2024, thankfully, Luke Jacobs defeated Kid Lycos.
Interesting. So the winning this thing and then going on to win the title is quite rare,
Yeah.
Yeah,
essentially. Jesus.
It's like the Austin Theory curse of winning Money in the Bank.
Yeah. No way. Okay. Okay.
Way to
I
put you in a good mood for this show.
yeah.
You might win the tournament, but you'll probably lose your world
Probably
title shot.
win the whole thing. I think Denise is going to win it, and Denise will win the title. Like that's what I think. But mm, Charlie Stale an MVP.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Charlie.
Anything you would like to add before we wrap it up? Actually, an official prediction for Jacobs Cara Noir?
Jacobs.
Okay, Callum.
Cara Noir
Oh.
pulling out the big win, getting revenge for me from Sunday.
Non-finish winner of the tournament has to do it in a triple threat, and that's how Jacobs actually loses the title.
Because he never gets pinned.
He never gets pinned.
Unlike the Reese pinning Cara Noir.
Ethan Allen, Luke Jacobs, and Cara Noir in the triple threat.
Alan pinning Cara Noir.
Yeah,
Yeah. Wow. Huh.
in Manchester.
Oh my God. Okay. We've booked ourselves into a corner here.
We
Yeah.
have, we have.
I think whatever happens, Man like Denise is going to win. Is going to win the title within the next few months. That's my final thing. Anything else you would like to add before we wrap this bitch up?
No, I've just been asked again if I have keys
All right, okay.
through the
Feel like
window.
Feel like someone's dying for you to go home.
I know.
Did
Like I've
So
got
he bring a
keys.
sleep? Did he
Yeah,
bring a sleeping bag and a pillow?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else before we wrap it up?
I'm looking forward to it, like really looking forward to it. I have kind of stacked my weekend though, in that I'm taking Ruby to watch United versus City women's on Sunday. So as soon as we're done with that, I'm gonna then watch night one, and then my plan is I'm gonna go and watch Sinners because I've still not seen it, and Thunderbolts on Monday. So then once I'm done with that, night two or day two.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. I have I'm all partying with the it's Thea's birthday on Thursday, so yeah, everything's gonna be a whirlwind because she's gonna be a million mile. I can't believe she's 7. Like I'm not okay with that. Jesus Christ,
Try having a
7.
10-year-old next year.
Oh my God, knocks me sick. Do you know what's worse as well? We were talking the other day, and I was like, do you know what? I think you're my best mate. How bad's that? Like, how upsetting is that you're my best mate?
Me?
No, you. Like, we were
I don't
talking,
know what I'm supposed to say in this
no,
conversation.
talking to Thea, and was like,
Don't worry, Adam. Forget about Ty. Send
what?
him to the side. We
Oh,
don't
fucking
need him. You
hell.
can be my best
He
mate,
sat there
Adam.
literally saying it to my face. Like, how bad is it that you are my best?
You're up there though. Is that weird? That's weird too, isn't it? You know, like,
See, best
gee,
friends remind the other one that Mission Impossible tickets have gone on sale.
See, thank you, Callum.
yeah,
That's all right.
yeah. But
I
yeah,
booked.
Thea's my best mate. How bad's that?
It's not bad at all.
It is.
You're a
Because
good dad.
7. I'm not that good. We're mates. That's the problem. Know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, because Amy says to me, she says, she is just you. She's
Yeah,
just you. She is
yeah,
you. And then
yeah,
she's like, she is you. And the other one looks like you. What have I got?
yeah, yeah. I get that. I get stuff where like Thea will lie to Rachel's face for me. And even if Rach says something like mean to me, like even in jest, Thea's like, "Don't you dare talk to my boo boo bear like that. How dare you?" And then like gives me a hug, and I'm like, "My bad dog." Like, yeah, she's just my best mate. Anyway, yeah, so yeah, she's 7. So that's my weekend will be full of screaming kids from Thursday. She's got people coming around on Thursday, and then we're doing something Friday, and then it's a party on Saturday. So yeah, I'm gonna be tired. But yeah, Callum, anything you want to add?
No, recovering from a trip from Wembley Stadium. Sadly, my beloved Nottingham Forest fell short against Luke Jacobs' Man City by 2-0. But I mean, just the occasion of going to Wembley was so special. You know, it's obviously a place where both of you have been now in the past 12 months to watch All In.
Yes.
I thought a bit about both of you when I was there. Just to think of like, man, this is a stadium where Brian Danielson won the AEW World Title. So it's got so much history there outside of what's happened with a football. So look forward to hopefully getting back there again, whether that be for a wrestling event or once again following Nottingham Forest.
Mhm. Indeed. Yeah, that was our first what is a preview? Not preview. What's
Preview.
it called?
Predictions.
Predictions. There you go. Our first
Bracketology.
yeah.
Bracketology.
Yeah. Bracketology, our first progress predictions. There you go. Yeah. We ran on. We went on tangents. We did our
A
thing.
lot of our recent episodes have been around about 2 hours in length.
Oh yeah, we need to stop it. It's an absolute joke. As always, stay safe, stay entertained, and watch progress. And we will catch you next time. Bye.